Turn it up. You're listening to Live and Loud with the Lord, Nelson, that is.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you know who it is. It is the big guy with the big show. Yes, indeed, the Lord. Nelson, that is. First ballot Hall of Famer from Live and Loud with the Lord on the CMS network with 5 Royals ENT. Now, my Lord Nelson Nation, the blessings continue to flood my platform, and I'm here to welcome another band that has that vibe, that energy, and a front man with those chops that has them on the fast track of success. Now, what they bring to the masses is a alternative mainstream rock aesthetic that has an edge that captures the hearts and minds of men and women alike. Yes, indeed. This incredible band is a pleasure to hear and see and is guaranteed to give you your money's worth plus much more. So without further ado, I bring to you the awesome, I got to pause for effect, man. Arsenic Kitchen, yeah. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Hey, man, it's your world all day, every day, baby. So listen, we got Blake right now with, guitars extraordinaire. We should have Lucas Lee sing a role in here soon. But, man, we're doing what we do. I'm thankful and grateful to have you here, man, to talk with you, to talk about what you guys are doing. And we'll get started. So my first question always for everybody is, where are you guys from?
So we are currently located in Phoenix, Arizona. We're from all over the place. Our drummer lives in Phoenix. We kind of all migrated to his home base. Was originally his studio, and we kind of just helped take it over. But I'm from Colorado, and Lucas is from Arkansas, and we're from all over the place.
Really? Colorado and Arkansas. Okay, that's what's going on. So how long you guys been in Phoenix now?
Let's see. I've been in Phoenix for 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
And I met Lucas about 7 of those years ago.
Got you. So what's the best thing about being in Phoenix?
Oh, man. When I moved here, it was the price of everything.
Right.
Now it's just the weather. The weather's pretty cool. The music scene is fun, but I've definitely noticed that I fit in to music scenes on the East Coast a lot.
Okay.
Maybe not more, but definitely I really like the music scene on the East Coast and in the South. Yeah. But the music scene over in Phoenix is pretty cool. I'm definitely a fan. A lot of my favorite bands came from Phoenix, so obviously that's really amazing to be a part of that. And the weather's pretty great. I love the weather.
Yeah. So if I really wanted to feel the energy of the music scene in Phoenix, where would you take me?
Oh, man. If you're looking for bigger areas, I would say the Marquee or the Van Buren or the Nile Theater. Those are kind of the mid-range, like 2,000 capacity places that are you definitely know the bands that are playing there, but they're a little bit smaller. They usually got local openers, and they're doing a lot for the scene that, raising some of the locals up a little bit.
Gotcha.
Smaller places like the Rebel Lounge, the 44. There's a place called the Rhythm Room that is definitely doing some stuff for the local scene. A few of my favorites aren't around anymore, unfortunately, but I would say any of those places definitely. And the Nile Underground. The Nile Underground is one of my favorites because it's like it's literally just a basement that fits like 200 people. And that's where the local bands play. And then the bigger acts are up on the main stage upstairs.
Well, you know what I like to say, man, and my time with Stuck Mojo and doing some things with Lies and No Power, No Crown. But, when you play in venues, even if it's a shitty venue, and I'm not saying any of these are shitty venues. I'm not saying that.
We've played some shitty venues, that's for sure.
Yeah, but when you're in a shitty venue and it's packed, it's not a shitty venue. It's amazing.
Yes, sir.
Just for the things I know I've done, man. Because I've been in some crazy places. I was just like, oh my gosh, man, this sucks. Until you step on that stage and the fans are just wild and just love what you're doing, man. So it's a great thing. So what's the best thing to eat in Phoenix?
Oh man, there's a lot of good stuff. So when we were traveling through Texas and we were traveling through like the South, everybody was like, make sure you try the Mexican food. And I was like, dude, we live in Phoenix, Arizona. The Mexican food here is the only place you can beat it is San Diego,
Really?
So Mexican food is pretty great here. Arizona definitely has kind of like its own like Native American fusion sort of thing in the higher end restaurants that's pretty good. I mean, there's good Asian food restaurants too, but that's a given.
Well, that's why I asked, because I've watched so many things, and my daughter, one of my daughters, she went to Stephen F. Austin University in Texas, and so I remember when she graduated, she was getting her master's, and we went to eat at this place, and she would always tell me, like, you have Taco Bell and all these other places that's not real Mexican food. No, it's like, when you eat tacos and stuff here, it's different. And I remember us having that, and I was just like, she's 100% correct. Now I live in South Carolina, and we have some authentic Mexican places here also, but it's a big difference. It really is. And so that's why I asked that question, because I've watched things with, in Arizona and Phoenix where I'm looking at the food and I'm just like, that looks good to me. It really looks good. It looks authentic. Let me say that. Absolutely.
There's whole areas in Phoenix, like a lot of South Phoenix and a lot of the like Glendale area, that it's just like Mexican culture everywhere.
Right.
And so you get some real good Mexican food.
So how much of a difference? So you're from Colorado. How is that? You like the weather. Colorado can be so cold, I guess, mountains compared to Arizona. I mean, what's what am I trying to ask? How is that so different to you? How did you go from that to this?
So I grew up in Colorado. I lived there till I was about 21. Obviously I went to a bunch of different places, but that was the home base always.
Right.
And anytime I went somewhere in the wintertime, LA or like Phoenix, is like, oh my God, it feels so good here. It's so warm and amazing. And when I moved to Phoenix, it was March, I was getting in the pool and I was like, it's so nice here. And then after 1 year, I'd acclimated so much that, it's 70 degrees now and I'm shivering. Whereas when I lived in Colorado, it was 35 and I was like, you guys are dumb. I'm outside in shorts, so you acclimate like that.
I got you.
It's wild.
Indeed. So, but it being such a hot desert climate, man. So I live in the South Carolina, and we get, like that humid weather. So is it more just like a dry, arid weather?
In the summertime, especially because I moved away and then moved back, and I moved back to Phoenix in July, and I got out of the moving truck and the air hit me in the face. It's like 121 degrees.
Wow.
It is dry, so it's not like you're not wet when you get out,
right.
But it felt like when you open up the oven and that air hits you.
Right.
It's like that, and it's a little hard to breathe for a second, and it's something to get used to, that's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so visual, man. I'm picturing all of that. It's like I'm there with you, feeling that heat and everything. Yes, indeed. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I feel like it's a similar thing where I was from in Colorado. Like, you're either hiding from the winter for 6 months or you're hiding from the heat for 6 months. You just, whichever one you like,
Yeah, Colorado, just pictures. I've never been, but just beautiful, just seems like if you like nature and things like that.
There's no better mountains in the world than Colorado.
Right, indeed. Yeah. Coors Light.
Oh,
I don't drink. I just remember the commercial. So as a youth, what was the predominant genre of music played in your household?
So my parents were definitely stuck in the 70s and 80s. So I listened to a lot of 70s and 80s stuff. The reason I wanted to be a musician was because I heard a Phil Collins concert on TV when I was like 4 years old.
Right.
Eric Clapton. I used to listen to Elvis every night to fall asleep when I was like real young. So a lot of oldies, but my dad's favorite band was Nickelback.
Really?
As he got a little bit older, so I listened to a lot of Nickelback.
Yeah.
A lot of like newer stuff and grunge. Creed was popular at the time, that sort of thing. but pretty all over the place.
I love it.
I was really into country music and like old music until I was about 10, and I heard Metallica for the first time, and I was like, oh my God. That kind of like, I dived straight into metal.
Hey, listen, no, I love it, man, because, I'm I'm an older dude. And so I understand your parents and what they're feeling, And so, even with my children, we always get into where I'm playing certain things, and I like it when they're like, okay, Dad, that's cool. Oh, that's where they got that song from. Yes, indeed. Try to tell you, because I like it all. Just like you, man. I wouldn't say it's eclectic, but I can listen to any music. I always say if it's hot, it's hot. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. I enjoy music, So when did your passion for music really reveal itself?
I would say when I was about 4 years old. I was watching I'm sure you remember when they had DirecTV, like pay-per-view.
Right.
And you could like order a concert or whatever, and they ordered a Phil Collins concert, and I watched that, and I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. That's amazing. And I started watching Eric Clapton concerts and Styx and REO Speedwagon and like, all the 80s classics.
Yeah.
And I made little paper guitars, cut out like pieces of cardboard from the fridge box and stuff like that. I made little guitars and drum sets out of like 5-gallon buckets. And so I like noodled around on pretend instruments for most of my childhood, but never, I guess, really like grabbed a hold of actually learning an instrument until I was like 14, and my dad bought me a guitar from a yard sale across the street. And I started watching Kirk Hammett videos from Metallica, and I got really into Slayer for a little while, and anything that was like 80s thrash. I'm not super into it anymore. But I loved it when I was a kid and I first started playing guitar.
Right.
And yeah, I got this shitty little amp that was like 5 watts and had no distortion whatsoever on it. But I thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
Of course.
Yeah. I actually started in a blues band. That was the first band that I ever started playing in. For like 3 years, we played like blues and cover songs.
Indeed. Love. I love that. So you said you were noodling around with many different things, but was guitar that's what really called your name?
I think so. I had a drum set when I was younger that I pretended that I knew how to play a little bit, but guitar is the first thing that really stuck out to me, that like, watching all those guitarists on TV.
Yes.
And just the general presence and vibe of, the like classic 80s guitarists. I always loved that. I've never considered myself much of a shredder. I'm more of a songwriter than I am a guitarist, honestist. But I like the performance aspect of it. I'm a performer above a guitarist, if anything.
Got you.
But I mean, I play drums and bass and some other stringed instruments. I love all music, but guitar is the one that's kind of just been my thing.
I love it, man. So have you ever been, excited or passionate about anything else besides music?
Yeah. I was a chef for about 12 years.
Really?
Yeah. And it kind of like, it helped fund all my music stuff. And also I was in a fairly popular, not popular, but like a local band that was doing good when I was like 18, 19. And we broke up over $50. Awesome. And
wow.
So the place in life I was at was like, I either start all over, not making money anymore and traveling and like doing all that stuff, or find something that I can sustain myself with for the time being. And so I started, I had been cooking a little bit, but I started doing it a little bit heavier and got into like fine dining and, like more sustainable restaurants and kind of a career sort of thing. And it kind of just, every time I would get a job, I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to be a line cook. I'm just going to be like the bare minimum, and I'm going to work and I'm going to fund my music. And I've always had such a passion for cooking that it's been really hard for me to balance the two. And that took over because that was the thing that was making money and that I could viably do until like a couple of years ago when I was able to actually, have funding for my music career, and we were able to travel around and, do this full time. But yeah, so I love cooking. I like cinema. I love theater. Also things that require a lot more money than they they give you right away.
Right.
But anything entertainment or food I love all of them. I find myself connecting with people that are in the theater and film community more sometimes than people in the music community, because while I think of myself as like a songwriter and a musician, I love the performance and theater aspect of music and what it can be. And I feel like I just have a lot more in common with film and theater and like that side of entertainment sort of people.
Bro, you're a creative, man. That's what it is. And I can just hear it. And when you say being a chef, which I think that's so dope, man, because I'm like a fan of, like, you know, when you're watching like Food Network and things like that, but I'm like was the biggest fan of Anthony Bourdain. I love this show. There's probably not a show I ever missed. I had to watch it. And even when with Eric Bass and the Shinedown guys, I went to see a show down in Augusta, and we were all on the tour bus, and I was just sitting there, and then we were all watching, No Reservations.
I love that show. Wait, the movie or the show?
No, the show.
Okay.
We were on the tour bus just watching it, and I was just like, man, Anthony Bourdain is just the greatest. His commentary and everything, and him being a chef. So when you say that, man, I listen. I think that's just super dope, man. It really is. It really is, man. I love it. So
I mean, that's the kind of thing that got me into cooking in the first place. And my mother's lax rules on what I need to stay home from school because I don't feel good means. And then I would watch all of this Food Network stuff, and I was like, I want to do some of that. And I'm like building little food things with like tater tots and hot dogs and whatever's in the house, and So that was kind of what kickstarted it.
That's awesome, man. It really is. I'm telling you, I really love that. That's really awesome. So if you wouldn't mind, man, please timeline the band from start to present and educate us on the Arsenic Kitchen journey.
Yeah. So it's been a really long one. It's been about 12, 13 years. So as I said, I started in a blues band. And we were like 16, 17. We were playing in bars, playing covers and blues songs and just like jamming because it was the thing in the area that I was that everybody wanted.
Right.
And it's really easy in blues music to kind of like find your place and experiment and, because it's about the feel and all that. But anyway, I was also really into metal and rock, and I was writing a bunch of stuff that fit more in the, like, at the time, like alt rock sort of genre. And the band didn't really want to move in that direction. They wanted to stay with what we were doing because it's what's people are coming to listen to. And it's, that's where they wanted to stay.
Right.
So I formed Arsenic Kitchen as kind of just an outlet for myself to write a little bit more, and just kind of just have a name on something, And so I found the Lucas is here now.
Lucas, what's up, bro?
The bassist and I started that, and it was kind of just a little project with us and our acoustic guitars for a while. And then it sort of just died for like 4 or 5 years. I still wrote stuff and put stuff in it, but that was pretty much it. Until I met Lucas, and we were trying to form another project. And I showed Lucas, I think by accident, a song that I'd written for Arsenic Kitchen, and he was like, I don't want to do this thing we're doing. Can we do this instead?
Right.
Yeah, so
that's the story. Yeah.
I'll give him a second to introduce himself.
Hi, how's it going, man?
What's going on, young man?
I'm chilling. I think that the time difference stuff got us all confused. So
hey, man, listen, just like I told Relent Ryan, I was like, man, listen, I understand, man. I'm an artist too, so I get it. It's all beautiful, man. No worries, no worries.
In real time, figure out why my microphone wasn't working.
But welcome to the show, man. Great to have you also, young man. And I have a friend, a very good friend of mine. It's like my brother. His name is Lucas. I always call him Cabo San Lucas because I say his life is for vacation. But yeah, it's all love. But yeah, man. So how have you been influenced by the other genres that you love so much, and how much do you think you incorporate those genres in your music now?
I've definitely, like Blake has opened a whole new horizon of different music that I was not used to listening to before. Like, I don't know, growing up, like I think the heaviest thing that I thought was out there was like Metallica, and I didn't realize, there was a whole nother world, I guess. And so he showed me like a lot of new music, and ever since then, like he basically gave me like the start of my musical journey, and then I've kind of blossomed into all this different genres and stuff that I'm really happy that I incorporate into our music now. So we listen to a lot of, like all of us listen to a lot of post-hardcore and metalcore stuff, and any early 2000s alt rock and metal and stuff, and then a lot of us also listen to prog metal and stuff, and I feel like that really gets incorporated into all of our music pretty well. Like we have a very weird writing process where we try not to box ourselves in, and even if it doesn't quite sound like us, we know at the end of it it's going to. So it's like, even if it's a little bit weird, we just stick with it and see what happens, and 9 times out of 10 it's amazing. So I mean, I've definitely enjoyed incorporating a lot of prog elements, and I like all of the electronic stuff that's been going into our music lately. I think it's kind of putting us on another level than like at least some local bands for sure, but hopefully on a grand scale, all other bands in America. That'd be great. So
awesome, love that answer, man. That's beautiful. So here's the thing. Okay, so John's not here, Jonathan. So here's what I want to ask you. So Blake,
yes, sir. What
do you feel Lucas and John, bring to the table that makes them an intricate part of the whole?
Lucas is definitely I have not really had another songwriter be a part of like many projects that I've been in. I'm usually the main songwriter, and I kind of just bring the idea and I go, what do you guys think? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they just play it.
Right.
But meeting Lucas, he writes his own music. And that is definitely something, his perspective and different outlook on songwriting and music in general fits so well with mine, but also is enough of a contrast to mine that we get something that sounds really, really interesting and really good. I was just telling him, I think like yesterday, that the stuff I write is a little bit more emo and like post-hardcore, and like when I write it, I hear a very specific thing. Right. And then the way that he writes vocals to it or changes it makes it a little bit more hard rock, a little bit more poppy, a little bit, and it makes sure that I'm not just getting myself stuck in a specific genre. I mean, I write mostly I was telling you my background is like theater and film and entertainment, and I want to write songs that feel like that.
Got you.
But yeah, I think that Lucas brings a lot that really changes up the sound and honestly just makes it so much better. I like most of the songs that he writes better than the songs that I write.
and I'm the opposite, where I think all of his songs are a lot better.
Of course.
Which is great. I mean, if it was any other way, I think we would have a lot of conflict or something, or at least more talks about the music than we do. I think it's all pretty like, is that good? Yep. Okay, move on. And it's like, it's no question really. It's like I'm wholeheartly in that mindset where it's like, if I'm in a band with these guys, like I trust their musical ability. So like, I'm not gonna like push them too far away from like what they originally thought, because it's probably the best case to go, like best way to write the music. So
well, I think it's a beautiful thing that you guys allow each other that freedom to be a creative. And Blake, just like you were saying, at first it was just you doing all of it. And now you have somebody that you can recognize the talent that he has. And of course, man, Eddie, that you have strong vocals, young man, amazing vocals, I want to say, most definitely. And so how do you guys feel about John?
Oh, he's great. I think he also, he's been writing a bunch for the newest album that we're working on. And his drum style it adds something new, while at the same time, if I show him something and I'm like, what do you think about drums for this? I also write drums, but I've been trying not to lately so that he can put his thing on it. But when I write a song, I hear all of the pieces to it, and I'll write this riff and I'll show it to him. And I'm like, what do you think should go on this? And he plays it. And I'm like, yeah, exactly that.
Awesome.
So while he can bring a little bit different perspective, he also kind of just he just knows where we want to go with stuff. He gets the music that we're doing, and I appreciate that a lot.
He's very, very in tune with some newer stuff that like we're not on the wavelength of like I mean, he's the prog metal guy out of all of us. Like if there was like, I think the most prog thing that me and this guy listen to is probably like Tool, Mastodon, Dream Theater, stuff like that.
Right.
And it's like he's all into like the newest stuff that's like all over the place and crazy, and he like just gets really into like really complicated but groovy type drum patterns where it's like,
yeah, we're mainstream prog.
Yeah. And it's like, it's really cool. And I think it meshes really well because there's some songs where we're like, we did not expect him to write that part, but it's like, it's perfect. So it's awesome. And it's like, he's also not like going to overcomplicate things. Like he knows when it's time for just 4 on the floor and stuff like that. It's like, to have that balance is real important, you know?
Well, I'm going to say, I was going to ask this a little later on down, but I just love the fact when you guys have already answered so many of the questions. My thing is that, I just want this to be always, when I have conversations, I want it to be a conversation more. I'm asking questions, of course, but I just like the fact that it's a conversation, man. And I'm really into what you guys are talking about. And I really want you guys to understand that. And so let me ask this. You guys are still in search of a bass player. What's going on with that? And how hard is it to be that 3-piece without that bass player?
We currently have a bassist. He's just not like, I guess he's not like our official bassist yet.
Okay.
Like he's kind of been like a long time fill-in. He's an old friend of ours and he's played in the Valley for a while. And
Gotcha.
It's like, we didn't know anyone else who could really like do what they're supposed to do than this guy. And he's been doing a great job. We love him. I guess at the end of the day, it just really comes down to like, okay, like we're ramping up to do big things here soon. Like, are you able to do that with us? Like, are you going to come with us? Or are you going to, kind of drag your feet a little bit? We have to have a talk about it, I guess, and figure out what we're going to do. So
he also, I should mention, is a guitarist.
Yeah.
And I've always been pretty adamant about having one guitar in the band. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if he was very nice enough like a year and a half ago to start filling in on bass and playing some shows for us. And obviously, I mean, any of the music videos that you've seen, that's him.
That's him. Okay. Gotcha.
He comes on tour with us. He plays all the shows, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so he's a guitarist, and whether he wants to start his own project here down the road when we start traveling and doing all that stuff, or if he wants to stick with us, like Lucas said, that's something that we're still figuring out exactly what he wants out of the band. But we appreciate him for sticking around for so long. And it's hard to find somebody that, one, you can be in a tour bus with for that long, that doesn't stink and, is enjoyable to hang out with, but also somebody who's available to do that.
He said that doesn't.
That's a very important thing. When you have 120 square feet of room, you better smell all right.
And like, we're already stinking it up. Like, we're already making it smell like BO like every single day where we're coming back into the RV, like dripping in sweat.
Oh my
and like,
God.
It smells like feet, smells like farts. It's like, and then if someone else has just like a general like lack of, I don't know, they can't clean themselves. Their cleanliness is just not there. That just makes it all the worse, You
better not smell like anything other than the show we just played.
Yeah.
Well, listen. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. I'm laughing so hard because, once again, I told you I'm super visual. So now I'm thinking about myself when I was with Stuck Mojo and Ryan with Vengeance and Ectomorph and Tenside. The bands there was 3 bands on our bus. It was, it was Vengeance, Tenside, and Stuck Mojo on our bus. And let me tell you something. You want to talk about ass and feet? You're not getting away from it. Even though the bus driver would come and vacuum and sanitize and all that stuff like that, but still, man, that traveling and doing what you do, ass and feet is going to be.
It's going to be a thing, that's for sure.
Mississippi.
That's so you're not getting away from that. You're going to smell it sometimes. There's no doubt about it.
Any of the humid states like Mississippi for sure tested us in that department. We were just stank all the time. It was rough.
Yeah, the more humid you get, the more stuff is it's cooking.
Indeed. So that's hilarious to me. You took me back.
Nice.
So if you guys had a choice of a superstar band to go on tour with, who would it be? A world tour?
Oh man, Asking Alexandria, 100% for me. That's my favorite band in the world. Uh-huh. I would say Sleep Token, but I don't know if we. I don't know if we fit the Sleep Token vibe 100%. They're also one of my favorite bands. But Asking Alexandria has been my favorite band for so long.
Gotcha.
I would choose them 100%.
I think Ice Nine Kills would be a great one to tour with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they're a big inspiration for us stage wise, like stage presence and how we look on stage and stuff. It's like it's a big amalgamation of a few different influences, but I really think that an Ice Nine Kills or like Motionless in White or a Black Veil Brides type thing, like we want to kind of fit into that niche that a lot of bands that like I guess I didn't listen to growing up, but this guy did. Like I like newer bands that we're really interested in, and yeah, I think that those would be like killer. Like any like Warped Tour type bands would be really fun.
Yeah, when you talk about your stage presence and everything, which is super dope up there, but we're looking at you guys' videos, and I always remember I was watching a interview. I tell everybody this. I was watching an interview with Quincy Jones and Chuck D, and Chuck D was talking to him and asking him about, his musical styles and everything like that. And he said no matter who you are, you grab 10 of those bands that you love, and you just grab one thing from each of those. And then you'll have your own style. It will be distinct. It will be you. So when you say that you're looking at all these other people and it's an amalgamation of stuff that you guys do on stage, which is it's amazing. Brent from Shinedown, I watched him. I saw him do some things. I said, I'm going to let you know right now. Next time I'm on stage, I'm taking that right there.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm just going to add it to my thing, man. So, listen, that's love, man. I think it's cool. So
Which is one of the best live shows I've ever seen, by the way, is Shinedown. I love Shinedown so much.
They are really amazing guys. They really are. Now, you said, Blake, you were adamant about you just wanted to be just one guitar. Why is that?
I think in the beginning it was because it's easier to pay one guitarist.
That's awesome.
But also because I don't I get along with Lucas really well songwriting wise because he has different perspectives on stuff. I get along with most of the bassists we've had songwriting wise because they have bassist perspective. Me and Jonathan mesh really well because he's got good like rhythm perspective. And if I need help with guitar stuff, he knows how to play guitar, so he can, help me in that area. But when I started the band, the bassist that we had was really proficient at bass. And a lot of the bands that we looked up to, like Mudvayne, Ice Nine Kills at the time, Nothing More. There's a million more, but I'm blanking right now. They all have one guitar, and the bassist fills out the rest of the sound, and it makes it really distinct that there is a bass and there's a guitar. A lot of the metalcore bands that I like obviously have like a lot of guitar going on, and I record with layers of guitar. But live, I want it to sound a little bit different. I want the bass to stand out, and I want it to be its own specific instrument, and I want the guitar to stand out. So that's really important to me, especially now. We have so many theatrical aspects. We have synths, we have strings, we have so many other things that are also lead instruments that I feel like a lot of the stuff that we write, aside from production, doesn't super need more than one guitar live anyway.
Got you.
Because we want other things to stand out, and having two guitars, you have to write specifically for two guitars. And that's not usually been my writing style. I write stuff that is stretchy and weird and like incorporates leads and rhythms into it. And then I try to break up when we record so that I can make the sound more full on the album. And then secondly, because I don't really like writing with other guitarists. Maybe one of these days we'll have another guitar like as a secondary, just like to fill out the sound on stage. If Lucas really still wants that. But I have never super been interested in another guitarist, especially with all of the other stuff we have going on.
Yeah, you're a producer.
I'm wanting a bassist to be able to stand out as his own instrument.
Yeah, you're a producer. You're a creative, man. I get it. I hear it. You want to have that, know what's going on, and the vibe of it. I always say like you're on that. I always tell people about being Prince. Prince played all those instruments. He's amazing. So you know exactly what you want and how you want it to be, and I guess that and then Lucas really adds to that for you, and so that's a beautiful thing. It really is. It really is.
I'm pretty on board with having another guitarist eventually. It's just that I definitely don't want to push that on anybody right now, because it's more it's a want, not a need thing, and it's never oh, Blake, we could use a little bit more guitar. It's not like a more guitar thing. I think I'm just like I'm a huge purist whenever it comes to like whatever we record in the studio. Like I want to put on a show where we sound like, if not identical to that live, as close as possible to it, you know?
Right.
And it's like if it like records a bunch of guitar layers, like I would like for those to shine through a live as well, because I know that there are going to be some parts here and there where it's like, you know, if Blake chooses to play the lead in a song, like on this particular part, it'll probably, you know, drop a little bit of energy just because there's not the backing guitars there and stuff like that. But it's like, I think it's just one of those things where only I really pay attention to that stuff. I don't think that that's something that anyone listening in the crowd would really care or give a shit about. It's just kind of like a, you know, like I said, a purist thing where I'm like, I want to watch the band that I love live on stage play exactly what I hear whenever I put the CD in my car. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want. So that's kind of just a want / you know, I don't need it, but I want it, you know?
That being said, I definitely agree in the way that any bassist we have needs to help fill out that sound, like to the T.
They gotta be on it. Like, you know, we're trying really hard to, you know, find a good, like, bass sound, I guess, like where it really fills out the middle area, like the mids and stuff, because it's like, I don't know, I really do like a clean, like just booming bass guitar sound that's just really on it, but I also really enjoy some grit and, like, you know, I don't know what the hell they're called, Sans amps, like, and just cranking those things sound really good. they sound great. So that's kind of what I would like one day for us, like here, maybe after the album, like we'll have like a full like setup for bass guitar that will just like, no matter who's playing it, it's going to sound damn good, you know?
Got you. So Blake, what guitarists or guitarists would you say you are most influenced by, if any?
Definitely a lot of guitarists. I've never been a fan of like shredding sort of stuff. I think it's impressive, and if you can do it, you're awesome. Yeah, Iron Maiden. I know stuff like that it impresses me, but it's not something I ever want to do. Right. Because it bores me. If your solo's longer than 30 seconds, I'm out, dude. And like I said, it's impressive. It's amazing. But that's why I love bands like Polyphia. That's why I love Steve Vai, because they're guitarists that are absolutely crazy, but they don't just play a solo. They know how to like make the crazy stuff that they do part of the performance and song. Yes. That being said, Kirk Hammett is probably still my favorite guitarist. Okay. From Metallica. I love him so much. And the way that he puts traditional blues scales and writing into modern, for the time, metal music is amazing. The way he writes melodic stuff that isn't really that technically difficult, but it just fits so good. He writes so many beautiful solos that sound like it's like another vocal melody, you know? It's a part of the song. Kirk Hammett is one of those guitarists that you can't have a Metallica song. You can't have The Unforgiven without that guitar solo. Or Fade to Black. You can't hear that song without hearing those guitar solos. And I think that's the only reason that you should be writing a guitar solo or lead, is to be a piece of that song. I will never put a solo in just to have a solo. You know, it has to feel like it belongs there. And I've cut like 5 or 6 solos out of the songs that I've been writing lately, because I'm like, I did it when I was a kid just to show off, just to be like, look, I can play a solo, but it doesn't mean anything for the song. It needs to be a part of it. And Kirk Hammett is very special to me for that reason. That's beautiful,
man. Sonics, and it's got to be pleasing to the ear. And that's what so like, I like Prince. You know, he's Prince Rogers Nelson. My last name is Nelson. I always tell people we're family. So, maybe
also one of the best guitarists that's ever been.
And the thing is just like you were saying, like he could shred, but he also had the rhythm parts, and that it just feels good when you hear it. Listen, I hear you. Everything that you said is right on point of how I feel about it also. You love the person that could just shred like crazy, but you don't want to just listen to that nonstop. I mean, it's just like, yeah. Okay, that's enough. Let's get back into the rhythm of it. And
you gotta know where it goes.
100%. So, hey, great answer, bro. So now, Lucas, with you, man, and once again, you definitely have those chops, man. You know, what vocalists would you say you were most influenced by, if any?
Plenty, actually. I don't know. These days, like I said, since I met Blake, which was, coming up on almost 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. He showed me like a lot of stuff in the beginning where I was like, wow, like, I don't know. I was one of those at first where I was like, wow, these guys are screaming a whole lot. I don't know what the hell they're saying. This is stupid. And like, now look at me. Like, that's all I'm doing. So I
showed him one of his now favorite bands in the world, Beartooth. I showed him a Beartooth song, and he was like kind of frustrated that I kept showing him these like heavy songs. And he was like, look, man, I'm glad you like it, but I will never like this stuff. It's so irritating. I can't even hear what he's saying. And now it's like his favorite music.
Oh my goodness.
Growing up, like I said, like the heaviest thing I listened to was like maybe Metallica, Alice in Chains and stuff like that. It's like, I didn't understand. And it took me a while for it to grow on me and stuff. And I think that since then, like I will say hands down, like I don't know where he is in the top 5, but Chris Martin from Coldplay is still one of my favorite vocalists ever. I really, really like him. I love Coldplay. That was like my childhood like nostalgia band, and
yes,
so I like him, especially their early albums. That's the good shit. But since then, definitely Chris Cornell, Lane Staley from Alice in Chains.
Okay, I see where you're going. Yeah,
since then. Really like Caleb Shoma from Beartooth. And I really, really enjoy like I don't know what you want to call them, like the staple like emo bands from the time. Like I really like Vic Fuentes' name, and from Pierce the Veil, and Kellen Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens. Love them. Just because that kind of challenges. Oh shit, I forgot to say any of the vocalists from Dance Gavin Dance. I don't care which one. But the way that they write vocals, it's like incredibly challenging. And since they got a screamer and a singer like all the time, I'm trying to I'm constantly singing in the car trying to do both, but it's like near impossible. So I usually just stick to like doing the singing parts. And it's like my range is like a tenor, like maybe a highish tenor, but like I'm not trying to like, go above and beyond all the time because it can hurt. But singing stuff from all 3 of those bands has challenged me so much in the last few years, where it's like I definitely have opened up my range and my control in the top from just practicing stuff like that. So that's very cool for it to kind of be in my tool belt now, that like if I need to really get up there, I can do that, and it's all because of kind of practicing these band songs over time.
No, listen, awesome. So when I first got with Stuck Mojo, and then we go on tour with Ryan and Vengeance and Ectomorph, and I've heard, of course, all the, the harder vocals, the scream. Here I am, this hip hop dude, and all of a sudden I'm hearing all this screaming and all this. And I'm just like, man, what the fuck is going on, man? Yeah. Trying to really get it. But then I watched Ryan do this every night for a month and, just won me over. And because their music was so melodic at times and everything, like I love Vengeance. And I was just like, okay, I get it. It was only doing the same thing with Ecto. I was like, I get it. And so I was just like, man. So, there's a few songs like As It All Sours by Vengeance that is like one of my favorite. I mean, I can listen to that a million straight times, man. I just love the song, man. Anyway, I would go off to I love, that's my boy.
No, I was going to say, like, I think that screams for me nowadays are like I love doing them, but I can also acknowledge the fact that, doing an hour-long set on tour maybe every day or every other day or something, like I guess for our music in particular, I want to be like I want to be pretty smart about where I put that stuff, right. Where it's like instead of just blasting through a whole song screaming my ass off, like unless it needs that, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like I want to definitely show off that we are more of a melodic band than we are like heavy, but we are heavy. It's just that that I want us to come off more like a radio rock band than like a dirty grungy like heavy ass band, you know what I mean? And
you're on it. I think you guys, the arrangement that you guys have is masterful. You guys do a great job of that, no doubt. You put those in the right places. So yes, indeed, you guys are handling that very, very well. So what do you think is the most difficult part of keeping a band together? Because so many people break up, different people come and go. What do you think it is?
I think definitely there's a financial aspect for a lot of artists, that because we've had a lot of friends that are still doing the same thing. You know, they've been in the same band for 5, 6, 7 years,
Right.
and they open for larger bands every now and then, but they're struggling to get to that next level. And I think a lot of bands struggle with that from a point of like, how do you jumpstart that, you know? And then one of the members has a kid and they have to focus on that. And so I definitely think that there's a big financial aspect to any art that makes a band break up. But I think there's also, you have to find people you like. We could have all the money in the world, but if we didn't like each other, I wouldn't want to do this, you know?
Yeah.
Real talk. Yeah.
And the three of us, the core members, we all like each other a lot. We know when to take our space, but we also live together. So we have the opportunity to just be around each other all the time.
Awesome.
And we like being in a tour bus with each other. That's super important, in my opinion.
Even smelling like ass and feet. That's all.
Even smelling like ass and feet. We all smell awful.
We gotta get used to everybody's brand.
You just complain about it a little bit, tell them to wash their socks, and open a window. I think that's the biggest thing, is knowing how to. I mean, it's a relationship, right?
Yes.
You're in a relationship with these 4 people, and you're also in a business relationship with these 4 people. So you all have to be. You need to be on the same page, in my opinion, before you start the serious stuff about what's happening. Right. You know, if you want to marry somebody, you need to be on the same page about how you're going to handle your money and how you're going to handle your parenting, if you're going to be parents, and how you're going to handle family situations, stuff like that. And it's the same with the band, I think, is you need to be on the same page about how you're going to handle the money, how you're going to handle traveling, how you're going to handle becoming more available for stuff, because that's a big thing that we've run into with bassists, is we have 5 or 6 people that when we were looking was like, I would love to be a part of the band, but I can't just take off work. I can't just do this. I can't, unless I'm making like a full salary all the time. I can't just.
It's a commitment. It's a commitment.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of factors, but the biggest one being good communication and compatibility just in people. Because if you can't be friends, I don't really believe that you can start a business or a band together.
Great answer, man. I love that. So now, what do you enjoy more, creating the music or performing the music?
I mean,
I'm definitely a more perform one. Like I love writing music, but I think it'll change over time. I'm sure I would have said more writing like a few years ago, but the fact that we're playing a lot now, and the writing is kind of like for this writing process that we're doing right now, it's challenging because there's like a bunch of songs that we're doing. Like, we're not just recording an album, but we've got a lot of stuff that we're doing. So yeah.
Is that backwards?
30.
Yeah, it's 30. We're recording 30 songs.
I'm trying not to give out too much information, but it's that's basically like where I'm at right now is like, it's a lot. So I get a little overwhelmed sometimes, but at the same time, like, I'm having a good time. I'm not upset about it or anything. I just definitely prefer performing right now.
Yeah. That just means you have a great pool to pull from, when you guys decide what you want to do. And even, in the band I'm in, Plastic Catastrophe with Lord Nelson, always my plug. Me and my boy MMA, the magnificent Matt Acevedo, who's my guy, great guitarist, producer, and all those things. But, just like you said, we have so many songs, and we just been recording a lot. And it's like, man, do you know how many songs we have? But it's just a good process for me, and I enjoy it. But it's nothing like being on that stage, man. It's nothing like being on that stage and when everybody knows your songs and they're singing with you. To me, it's a high like no other, man. It's the greatest thing in the world, man.
Special, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think I go back and forth because, like I said, I'm a songwriter.
You're a creator. I hear you, man.
And I get in these modes where, like, for the most part, I usually would rather perform. But like right now, as soon as I start getting in a writing mode, I have no interest in playing a show right now. I want to get all these songs written and recorded, and you know what I mean. Like, I'm in this mode at the moment.
Gotcha.
But I love performing so much.
Yeah, no doubt.
It goes back and forth.
Indeed. So this question, from the very beginning to your latest release, GSS, and that is the latest one that you have out right now, correct?
Sir. Hopefully not for long.
I feel you. I'm looking forward to it. So how much do you feel the band has grown?
Oh man, a lot. Like, I'm sure he told you a quick spiel about what was like Arsenic Kitchen before I was in it and everything, but
right.
like I walked in with no experience playing live shows, barely any experience with like singing. I just kind of did what I thought was right, and it's like since then I think that every single time that we've played live, we have gotten better in some way or another, and it's like only in the past like 2 years while touring and stuff has it like really like locked in for me at least. Like I feel like the most recent shows that we've done, I've definitely upped my game when it comes to like frontman presentation and stuff like that. Just being a good frontman for the band and like being a good voice for the band. So it's like that's been a great growth for me. But everyone else, I mean, Blake's always been on it. Like he's insanely good at performing and looking good on stage, and I'm incredibly jealous of it all the time. But
I've been doing it in my room since I was 4. That's the only reason.
It's like I definitely didn't have any experience at the start of this, so it's been a wild ride, and I'm happy to say that all of us, and I mean Jonathan's been in so many bands, so like he plays for a church and stuff, so like he's got plenty of experience being on stage and in front of a bunch of people, and I feel like we're all finally like locked in together after all these years. Like it's been awesome.
Got a great foundation, man. A great foundation. And and you can hear it and you can see it, man. So, kudos to you guys. So, what inspired you guys to cover Giving Up by Linkin Park?
A couple things, actually. So I think that the vocals and the scream are super impressive. And we had a lot of comments on the single that we released right before that. Maybe it was the one before that. I don't remember. But we had a lot of comments that were like, oh my God, your singer sounds like Chester. It's very Linkin Park-esque. And I was like, okay. So I feel like Given Up, there's a lot more songs by Linkin Park that I like more than Given Up, actually. Like No More Sorrow is probably my favorite one. There's a lot more songs I like more, but I feel like Given Up showcases vocals specifically the most, and it's also probably the most us of the Linkin Park songs.
It's a message to it also. It's a message.
Exactly. And I think the message is something that we all really need, especially right now in this area of our lives. And also it came at like the exact right time, because we started talking about doing the cover, and then we got offered a show with In the End, which is a Linkin Park tribute band, which is fronted by the new singer of Grey Days.
Okay.
So we got an offer to play a show with them, and we decided to do a music video for it and like do the promo in that way. So it kind of worked in two different ways,
Yeah, I think it was a really smart decision. I mean, like I'm still learning a lot about like I don't know, music marketing and like trying to get people's attention about stuff. And I think that we really locked in well on that, where it's like we wanted to do a Linkin Park cover, and then the show came, and we were like, what better way to advertise not only ourselves but get people to the show than just make a quick music video and shoot ourselves performing it. And I mean, sure enough, like that was one of the biggest turnouts we've ever had at a show before. So it's like that was obviously the right decision, and people love it. Like whenever people come up and talk to us at shows now, half the time they're about that music video or about that performance, and it's like that's amazing. So also, paying tribute to one of the best vocalists of all time is super cool with me. Like Chester's a beast, and I don't know, all of the music that he touches turns to gold, man. So I was more than happy to try it. I was definitely a little scared because that's a challenging ass song, but we got it done and it sounds great, and we can perform it live very good. So that makes me happy.
It's really fun because we get a lot of comments on our reels and stuff and our TikToks that are like, I would like it if not for the auto tune. Like, there's not any.
Not a single bit of auto tune anywhere. I don't mind those comments because it's a confidence booster to know that.
Of course, like man, I'm that guy. I'm the shit. What are you talking about? It's like that, man. I'm on point, man. Yo, so you guys saying that? So let me say this. So I believe you guys truly have a great sound. I love the arrangement, and Lucas, once again, your vocals are strong and melodic, and of course the awesome videos too. You guys have done a great job. So what makes Arsenic Kitchen a must watch and listen?
What do you think?
I think for one, the amount of energy that we have on stage, I don't think that you can truly experience the band unless you come to a show.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think our live show is, while sounds crisp and clean, just like the stuff on the album, it's different than what you can watch in videos, and the energy is a lot different and a lot better when you come to the show. I also think that the way that we tell stories in songs, and the way that it's more of an experience than it is just a song. I think that's what I've always wanted to be as an artist, as a musician. And I believe that we're conveying that in the right way, because the video that's playing right behind you is part of a 3-part series that's going to be like a whole story. And that's going to be our first, basically, like, step into doing that. And we want to keep doing that forever, because my opinion, and Lucas shares this with me for the most part, is you should never write an album unless it's a concept, unless it's a thing. You should tell a story with your album. And so that's our goal with most of the things that we do. We're kind of moving into a new era of the band where we're like actually finding ourselves. And so the storytelling that we're doing in the future, like from here on out, I feel like is definitely one of the big reasons to listen to the band and engage in all of this, is because it's more than just some songs. It's like, it's a whole experience. We want every aspect of it to be something that you can get into and really enjoy and relate with.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that we listened to growing up just had this kind of, like, I don't know, vibe to it. I don't know how to describe it, but there was a point in time where, like, all the music videos that you saw on, like, you know, MTV, VH1, and like just on TV in general were like the biggest deal in the world. And they, you know, the bands are performing their hearts out, or it's like really artistic in some sort of way. And it's like, I don't know, maybe we're not looking in the right places, and maybe there's just plenty of that out there. But it's like, from what we see, it's a lot of people just kind of standing around, and not like, if they're putting energy in, it's because like they're stuck in place trying to sing and play a guitar, or they're like just standing in one spot doing whatever. And it's like, that's not us. We are we like to move, and we like to really put on a good show. It's like, if we don't get you to walk away from one of our live shows being like, wow, that was something different, I've never seen that before, I've never heard of that before, then like, we're not doing our job. So
you know what you guys have said, and you said it so beautifully, and I love that you went into it thoroughly. And Blake and I was talking about it earlier, you know, about what he does and who he is. Once again, you guys are true creatives. And I think you guys have a lot going, and understand it's about entertaining. You guys are entertainers as well as great musicians, and that is very, very important. You want to entertain the people who paid their money to come see you. You want them to leave and talk about you, you know, and spread the word like, hey, you got to see Arsenic Kitchen. You know, you got to come out here and see this band. They're amazing. So I love that. That was very, very, you guys said that very well, man. That's what's up. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Now, man, I love that answer, man. You guys, these dudes right here, that's beautiful. I love that. So what does success in this music business look like to you?
Oh, man.
Making enough money to live.
Honestly, like I've always said, I don't want to make money playing music. I just want to play music, and I have to make money. You know, like that's, I as long as we're getting by, we're surviving, we're comfortable, which I know means more and more in this world. But as long as we're where we need to be in life, we've got some health insurance and a house and a car and can retire someday. That's all I want. Success means that we reach people, and we affect people's lives with the music that we're playing in a way that they've affected us, that other artists have affected us, and like been a light. I know everybody says I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for music, but like, actually, you know, like there have been some really horrid times in my life where I would not still be hanging around if it wasn't for a lot of the artists that I love so much.
Yes.
If not making me feel like I'm not alone, just giving me something to listen to and enjoy that brings me comfort, you know? So I want to do that for other people with all of my heart. I want to do that for other people. And success means that we're doing that and we are able to survive without, living on the street.
Yeah,
That's all I want.
Having enough money just to live would be awesome, but I don't know. The music industry these days is so it's crazy. I mean, I think about it all the time where it's like, just 20, maybe 25 years ago, like everyone was so set on like, we got to get our album recorded so that we can, start touring. And it's like, how did that just happen for people back then? Like, I don't understand how like you sell your album and then that's how you get fans versus come on, listen to my Spotify like all the time.
Right,
it's very disconnected now. It doesn't feel very personal to like, go out and buy physical media. That's not a thing anymore. And it sucks. It's like, you're going to get physical media at a show and you're not going to go to that show unless you already know about the artist. And it's like, how are you supposed to know about the artist unless you either stream their music or buy something from, I don't know, or like your friend has like a t-shirt from a show. Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's a lot different than it used to be. And that's okay. Cause everyone's figuring it out. It sucks because that's what I wanted really bad. Like whenever we first started playing, I was like, oh, that's how it's going to be. And then I realized very quickly that is not how it's going to be. It's a different world now, and that's okay. I think that success in my mind is, I want to recreate the experience that I had listening to a new band growing up, or like whenever I would go to school in the morning when I was a little kid, I would like put CDs on my CD player and pop headphones on. And it's like, I fell in love with a lot of like artists and bands back then that my parents were listening to because I would steal their CDs and listen to them on the bus. And it's like, I want to give that experience to, either, I don't care if it's, an adult, a kid going to school like me at the time, like, I don't care, but I want to like make an impression on people and like make them want to, listen to us more. So,
which is why we put so much effort into our live show because, bands like Pink Floyd and like I was saying, Phil Collins and REO Speedwagon and Metallica and Styx and all those bands that had this enormous live show that they kind of bankrupted themselves sometimes just to do.
Yes, indeed.
That's what we want to put on an experience that people go, oh my God, I cannot just go home and listen to that on the album. Not in the way that a pop star just has outfit changes and lights, but in the way that it connects with you.
It's so different, for those ZZ Top days, bringing, cows and steers on the stage and Parliament Funkadelic with doggone spaceships coming out of the ceiling. It was a performance and they were there to entertain the crowd. And yes, there is a disconnect because now it's more of small fish in a big pond, because the pond is so big of social media and all those things, man. So it's difficult to have 50 million people putting out music every day. And now what are you going to do to stand out from people? So, but you guys doing your show and doing it the way that you're doing, I applaud you. And I think it's an amazing thing. It really is. So
thank you, man.
What can we expect for the remainder of 2025 from you dudes?
Oh man, a lot, honestly.
I don't know what to say and what not to say. So you go.
Yeah.
So I asked that question because now I want you to tell this.
Yeah. So I know what we've announced and what we haven't announced. So I'll go into some of that stuff. So we have like 3 or 4 tours planned that I am not allowed because of the other bands to go into too much about it.
Okay.
But we have a lot of stuff all over the country planned for the rest of the year and a lot more stuff coming in. A few months are still open and we're still kind of organizing that. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we're kind of creating a cinematic world with If Only was the song that released. It was like Beetlejuice themed.
Yes.
We're releasing an EP, which that's all I'll really say, but it's going to be like a whole cinematic sort of thing with a few more music videos, and it's going to tell like a whole story. And we're also working on an album that's going to do a similar thing, but on a much bigger scale. Gotcha. And so this will be kind of we'll go into more detail about it when we release the next few music videos, but this will be kind of a test for, and just a little bit of a taste for how we want to operate going forward and how we want to like stand out a little bit from the rest of the artists. And
essentially, if anyone likes what we're about to drop, then they're going to really, really enjoy the rest of this year for sure.
A lot of content, a lot of releases, a lot of stories, and a lot of live performances. We're working really hard on getting everything filmed, recorded, created in the next like 2 or 3 months, so that for the rest of the year, we're just playing. Mm-hmm. We're working on releases and stuff. We just hired a new booking team, new management, which you're familiar with Ryan.
Yeah, Distilled's awesome.
It's amazing. So good. And he's helped us with a lot of opportunities. A lot of the stuff that we're doing this year is thanks to Ryan. And we hired some new PR. So we have a lot of stuff planned, release-wise and show-wise over this next year. We have announced we're going on a cruise. We're going to be playing Margaritaville Rocks later this year, which I'm super stoked about. I've never been out of the country or on a ship for more than well, I've never been on a boat for more than like a day and a half. Yeah. So that'll be fun. So that's we've got a lot of stuff coming, and
awesome.
Most of it isn't announced yet, but this next like month and a half will be a lot of stuff coming out.
Well, let me say this, you guys, you know, it's family, man, and you guys are welcome to come back anytime you want to talk about anything you want to talk about. And I want to say that just having this conversation with you, you know, Ryan, you know, I have to big him up because, you know, I watched him on tour, he and his band, and I just watched them. They were go-getters, man. And I just said, like, his drive to make it happen is amazing. And so I hear that in you guys. And so once again, you know, that inspires me. I'm still doing my thing too. So that inspires me, man. So it's just, you know, it's a great conversation to have with you guys. I really appreciate you. So my last question is this right here, which I ask everybody is, what was the last song you listened to?
Oh man.
Let's pull it up on the computer right now.
I'll throw out. I've been listening to. Oh my gosh, Animals as Leaders. They're our drummer listens to them. He's a diehard fan of them, and the song that's been like stuck in my brain lately is a song called Tooth and Claw.
Okay. So Animal as Leaders. I don't think I've ever. I like to ask this question because you never know what we're listening to. People don't understand how much we love music, so that's why I like to ask this question.
99% of my day is definitely listening to music. So
yes, indeed. Talk to me, Lucas. What's the deal?
My last.
Blake. Song, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good.
No,
my last song was "If You're James Dean, I'm Audrey Hepburn" by Sleeping with Sirens.
It's a good song.
You're Audrey Hepburn. Love, man. Love. Well, young men, the floor is yours. Please let these amazing people who are watching or listening know where they can get in touch with you guys, check you out, and show support to AK, man, Arsenic Kitchen. Talk to me.
Absolutely. We've got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, all that silly stuff. You can follow us on YouTube and see all of our newest videos, which I think are one of the highlights. And Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere that you stream music, you can find us. You can subscribe to our Patreon, which is in all of our links and our bios and all that good stuff, or just patreon.com/Arsenic Kitchen. All of our behind the scenes stuff and early releases and merch discounts and all that good stuff. We have a mailing list that you can sign up for early announcements and just to stay updated in general.
Also, if anyone cares, not just the band, but
send me merchandise.
Oh yeah, not just the whole band, but you know, individuals in the band, including myself, maybe Blake, are going to be doing some like live content here soon. So I'm going to be doing a lot of live streaming and just kind of showing off what we're up to, what I'm up to in my daily life. So if anyone cares or wants to check that stuff out, that'll be out soon. So,
indeed, awesome, man. Well, once again, I appreciate it. And I do want to let you guys know, love burn to the ground.
Thank you. It's one of my favorites.
I love this song. It's a great song. Great energy, musicianship, tension and release, man. Awesome vocals, man. I love that song. I listen to that a lot. So that's really a dope song. Dope song. It really is. So, hey, man, once again, thank you guys so much, man. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is the big guy with the big show, the Lord. The effect. Nelson, that is. Yes, indeed. From Live and Loud with the Lord on the CMS network with 5 Royals ENT. And my very special guest, very, very special guest. You got to say it 3 times. Blake and Lucas from Arsenic Kitchen. Thank you guys so much, man. I really appreciate it. This has been a great conversation. Thank you so much, man. It's been super, super dope, man. It really is.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah. And tell John I said what's up, man. And
absolutely.
Anytime you guys want to come back and talk about whatever, I'm here for you, man. I appreciate you.
Sweet.
Thank you, appreciate it. We'll let you know.
Have a great weekend, man. Continued success, indeed.
You too, man.
All right, man. Peace.
Bye.
deeper under my skin. It's getting faster, faster, faster. Let the challenge begin. I can't imagine, can't fathom why I need to pursue, but God, it feels so right. I'll have to risk falling for you. I've got bad case of I just don't give a shit. I've gotta keep it up for a year. I've gotta see what life is like and how I want it. Right now what I want is you right here. Every time I see your face, got a thumping in my chest, got the fluttering the butterflies, you know the rest. Gotta say to me, man, a girl like you never claiming to think that I have to impress. Oh, I'll take my time before this is over. Gotta take my chances, gotta get you closer. I've got bad case of I just don't give a shit. I've gotta keep it up for a year. I've gotta see what life is like and how I want it. Right now what I want is you right here. You got a bad case of I just don't give a shit. I've gotta keep it up for my life. I've gotta see what life is like and gotta want it. Right now what I want is you by my side. Gotta chase, 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 sit down. Gotta take, gotta take, gotta take, gotta take, gotta take, gotta take, gotta take it slow. Gotta chase, gotta chase, gotta chase, gotta chase, gotta chase, gotta chase, gotta chase it now. Gotta take, gotta take, gotta take, gotta take, gotta take, gotta take, gotta take it slow. I've got a bad case of I just don't give a shit. I've gotta keep it up for a year. I've gotta see what life is like and how I want it. Right now what I want is you right here. You got a bad case of I just don't give a shit. I've gotta keep it up for my life. I've gotta see what life is like and gotta want it. Right now what I want is you by my side. My side.
Oh my goodness. Guys, the readings are off the charts. Look at this.
Turn it up. You're listening to Live and Loud with the Lord, Nelson, that is.